In 2024, I once again teamed up with the Orianne Society to co-host a raffle to raise money for conservation. All the proceeds for the raffle went towards the Orianne Society, and we raised over $10,000 for the third consecutive year in a row, which was amazing. I was very excited to see that we have been able to replicate the success of the raffle over the last couple years. I recently joined Ben Steginga in South Georgia to host Robert and Paula. They're this year's raffle winners. Robert and Paula both worked in land management in the Florida State Park system and have since retired. They were great company in the field, and I'm happy to say we had another successful raffle. So I'm going to start off today's episode with a few clips from that. This year's raffle was faced with some unique challenges in that the weather was continuously terrible due to the extended winter we've had pretty much throughout the United States. But even in South Georgia on the day of the raffle, the weather was not that great. However, we did manage to find this one eastern indigo snake pretty early into the day at our first spot that we visited. It was not the healthiest indigo, so we didn't take much time with it, but we did collect the usual data that we do on surveys before moving on to our next area. The better part of the first day of the raffle was unsuccessful with the exception of the indigo snake. So we had dinner, called it a day, and prepared to get up the next morning to search for snakes once again. The weather on day 2 was much better, it was nice and warm, and we had a pretty good full day in the field. So the conditions today are definitely a lot more favorable than yesterday, I think. And we only got up to like 62 degrees yesterday, which for March in South Georgia is pretty nuts. I mean, this is a climate that normally this time of year is in full-blown spring. And it still looks and feels like winter down here. It's starting to feel like spring today, for sure. But the last few weeks have been cold, even in the warmest parts of the south. So Ben spotted a snake track coming out of this hole. You can see it's very, very faint. And we were searching all around the burrow. Like I raked through this one. I might have raked through that one too. But anyways,
I'm glad I didn't put my hand in that clump.
There's a diamondback right there. It's just sitting there, completely motionless. Goodness gracious, that's a beautiful little snake. Look at that. Baby diamondbacks are so pretty, and this guy looks fantastic after his first winter. I mean, he's beefy, he's healthy, he's pretty. Could not be off to a better start for this little dude. It's so pretty. Vibrant yellows. I'm being bit by a deer fly in early March. Love the coastal plain. Here's a look at this guy in the sun. I mean, he is just absolutely stunning in every light. Such a pretty little diamondback. And very, like I said, very, very healthy. Almost looks like he's already had a shed this year, which I guess is possible, but a lot of snakes really have their first shed in March, so it'd be a little odd for him to have already gotten that out of the way. What a beauty. We're navigating the hurricane damage to get back to our next spot for the day. We're going to go look for salamanders for a bit.
Breeders, they'll come out to these little pools, these little areas before they fill with water. They'll lay their eggs then. And then once they inundate, they'll hatch. And so there should be a larva in a lot of these little puddles right now.
All right, guys, next snake of the day is a very odd little earth snake. This is a juvenile rough earth snake. Not a snake that we see very often on the channel at all, but locally common in this area for some reason. Just a very enigmatic and odd snake. They do tend to be common where they occur, but their distribution is very patchy. And then they'll turn up in places that just don't make much sense. But the weirdest thing about this one is just its age class. I think this is probably only like the second juvenile rough earth I've ever seen with that ring around its neck. Could very easily be mistaken for another species of snake like a ringneck. But very cool. I'll get a quick photo and we'll keep moving. They're looking at plants. Raking in the herps now. Ben's got an adult earth snake and another marbled. So that's a pretty much fully grown smooth or rough earth. I keep saying smooth, but these are in fact rough earths. They look a little bit different, not quite as stocky, and they have heavily keeled scales. And of course, babies with rings around their neck. Very nice. Yeah. Little coastal plain spotted salamander.
Yep.
This is a rental, but in case you needed to hear this, don't buy a two-wheel drive truck. We just got stuck in like an inch of mud in a good old two-wheel drive rental Frontier. Good morning, everybody. You guys already know what time it is. I'm out here. I've still got allergies. And we're going to go kick some more ash because that's what I need is more ash in my lungs. after the last couple weeks. But yeah, we got beautiful weather today, partly cloudy, beautiful drifting cloud cover. Should be a fantastic spring day in the woods, so let's see what we can turn up. All right, finally, first snake of the day is kind of a weird one. We got a big rat snake right there. It was the first one I've ever found at this spot, next to this nice stump, as you would expect. You're being chased, Graham, run away. This is actually a very big rat snake. I mean, he is beefy. What's up, dude? First snake of the day. All right, we'll get a couple quick shots of this guy and put him back. Not what we're looking for, and actually a kind of weird snake to see in this habitat. In fact, I think this is the first one I've ever found at the spot. Which is kind of weird, because rat snakes are basically everywhere, but some places are way more common than others.
That's awesome.
So I walked up to this burrow to look into it, and there was a little leaf litter right there. Whoa! Hey. Wow. Well, due to my idiocy, that diamondback just went down the tortoise hole, got away. I don't even know if that was a tortoise hole. It was just a hole full of leaves that I stuck my snake hook into the leaf litter and pulled it back, and a diamondback came out. So very, very weird, needless to say. But the day is moving along nicely. Diamondback and a rat snake. And also a diamondback that we've already seen that I didn't bother. I'm going to try not to lose that one, but another diamondback. Number 3. Only the second one we've looked at. Well, this one tried to do it too, but I was able to get him before he got away. That is diamondback number 3. We saw this one deep in a hole a couple episodes ago. It might have been the last episode. I think it was probably 2 or 3 episodes back. And today he was just basking right at the entrance. We're gonna get some photos and we'll let him go. Hey. All right, Grumpy. I see you. I know you're grumpy. I'm just gonna put you over here where we found you. Good doing business with you. We'll see you next time. All right, it's backlit, but there is diamondback number 4. I think this is another recapture, but the first time we saw him, we was in a hole. And right now he's out in the open, so get a quick pick and then we'll get closer. Man, that thing is just glowing. We're gonna have the opportunity to just leave this one right here, so that's what we're gonna do. Diamondback number 4, I think this is a recapture, but I'm not 100%. I'll have to compare patterns. The breeze is picking up, which is not the best for video, and not for snakes either, but I mean, it's been a great day so far, and we still got a little bit of time. Let's keep moving. Here's a look at this guy from the other side. He is so yellow, it's ridiculous. All right, guys, it's the next day. It's a little bit cooler today, and there's a chance of rain, so I think we're going to stick closer to home in the Piedmont and hope that we can find a few things before the rain hits. So let's get to it. All right, we're on the board already today for the lizard people. We got a little 5-line skink, nice and vibrant, juvenile. The skinks are just now starting to come out for the year, now that we're finally getting into real spring. And pretty quickly, next herp of the day, we have little Webster salamander in an area that we haven't been to in a while, so nice to see these guys are still here. I'm sure we'll see quite a few of them. All right, well, pretty quickly we are into a snake, which it's only a ringneck, but given the conditions, I think this is a good sign that there could be more stuff out today. Today's kind of a borderline weather conditions day, and this early in the year, weather is pretty important, so we're hoping that it's just late enough in the spring that snakes aren't going to mind that it's a little bit cooler today. And so far, it seems to be the case. We'll keep at it. Very nice.
Are they supposed to do that?
Yeah, they do a little... He's actually just going to die. That's what's happening. Yeah, I think they're a little bit more prone to show their bellies than a lot of other snakes just because they have that bright coloration. Very nice. All right, tiny baby red belly under a log. Snake number 2 for the day pretty quickly. We're off to a much faster start than we were yesterday, but we're also in less snaky habitat yesterday, so hopefully there's more to come. We might get rained out at some point today, but as of now, it's looking pretty promising. So Graham just flipped something really cool. He found a southern 2-line salamander nest. I don't know how well you can see the actual salamanders, but there's 2 under there, and these are the eggs. This is actually a pretty fresh nest. It's going into the 2nd week of March, and these eggs are pretty fresh, which is really late for 2-line salamanders, especially this far south. Feels like these guys normally lay eggs in like January or February around here. They're very cool. Definitely not something we see every day or often at all. Well, this little creek is sure full of amphibians. We got a nice little pool here with a bunch of tadpoles and a young bullfrog. That's probably a bullfrog tadpole if I had to guess, but could be any of the other lithobates, I suppose. A very active day so far, just mostly small stuff. This is kind of weird. I just flipped another one of these minuscule little baby red-bellied snakes. Same size as the one Nathan found under a rock. And here's another Webster salamander. Little guy, but much more classic Webster eye than the first. Very cool. We have not seen many of these this year, so it's been nice to see a few today. I'm still super congested if you can't tell, which really sucks for making videos, but it is what it is. All right, Graham just flipped a nice little fence lizard. All the lizards are hunkered down from the cold today. It's not that cold. It's like 60-something degrees, but not much sun coming through, so not much of a reason for these guys to be out running around. All right, next flip, we got a little earth snake. This guy is definitely a little bit dirty, a little bit crusty, in need of his first shed of the year. But the snakes are flowing pretty well considering the weather. We'll put him back and keep at it. Double ground skink flip. These guys are everywhere today, and they're all really cool, so they're just chilling. It's pretty neat, actually. Normally we flip them and they just disappear instantly. Good day for the lizard lovers, and there's a little scorpion right there. That is a Vahovus carolinianus, southern devil. The name is a little bit more sinister than they really are. They're pretty chill little dudes. I can pick this guy up without getting stung. Hey, buddy. He's chill, so he's cold, so he's not really warmed up and ready to sting, but there's a big skink. He's got to be a broadhead. Very cool.
That's like a lizard, not a skink.
That's a whole lizard, not a skink. Very nice.
Huh.
Well, I think this is our first broadhead skink of the year Nathan flipped. Big, I'm guessing female, because the males are even bigger than that, but very impressive lizard. As Graham said, that's not just a skink, that's a whole lizard. He's not wrong. That is quite the animal. Put him back under his rock, or her. I think this is probably a lady. All right, here we have a pretty little southeastern five-line skink, Plesiodon inexpectatus, and another earth snake. And for those of you who aren't familiar with southeastern skinks, these guys are differentiated by common five-line skinks by the lack of an enlarged scale on the base of the tail. So you can see all those scales on the bottom of the tail are the same size, which means this is an inexpectatus. Gonna bite me? No, he's not gonna. Oh, he is gonna bite me. Better me than the earth snake. I'll let these guys go. All right, guys, well, the weather has taken an inevitable turn for the rainy, so we're gonna kick around in some salamander habitat for a while and try to wrap up the day with a couple of finds here. I'm sure we'll at least see something, but the big target here is probably Hillis's dwarf salamanders and spring salamanders. Could be muds too, but I haven't found them yet. All right, first salamander's a red salamander. Pretty common here, but oh, it took us a little longer than I was expecting. Tend to be a little bit dull here, but still cool looking guy. Put him back under his log. All right, rain's picking up and these guys have to hit the road soon, so this might be the last find of the day, but it's a pretty good one. That is a four-toed salamander with eggs. Not something we see very often. I'm gonna try to put this log back as carefully as I can. These things will lay their eggs in a similar way to a lot of salamanders, where they're kind of right on the edge of the water, and when they hatch, the larvae will wiggle down to the water and begin their life. At least their life outside of an egg. We'll cover this girl back up and probably call it a day. It's been a pretty good one, considering it's this way outside.